It's the Joe Padula Show, Clarksville's conversation.
Absolutely. Let's go right into the election 2020 updates. Why is the mainstream media not covering the active lawsuits in all of the key election states? Don't worry, this War Veterans Got Your Six is now in the Joe Padula Show. Absolutely. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, click like, leave your comments, and definitely help us out and share this video now. Oh, the election's still going on. Check this out. If you guys are you guys up to date with the lawsuits that are happening? Because for some reason, if you're just watching CNN, if you're just watching MSNBC, if you're even Fox News, you're not getting any of the information. ABC News, CBS. Well, here's what's happening. Here's what's updating. And we're going to get into why mainstream media, and that would be a conversation for following this information, why mainstream media is maybe not even refusing, but just ignoring information that should be put out there. Let's start off in Arizona because it's warmer there. Friggin' snowed the other day.
Yep.
It snowed here. It's not like I sleep in the nude. This cold weather is not good.
Etch a sketch. Can I get that out of my brain?
Oh, man.
Arizona, Kelly Ward, who leads the Republican Party of Arizona, is challenging the election results in that state, arguing that the state's vote-by-mail procedures are too lax and that observers were not able to verify the ballots being counted. She wants the state's certification of the election results to be set aside until the signatures that accompany absentee ballots can be reviewed, which is part of their state law. Georgia. Okay, Sidney Powell. She is suing to block the certification of results and toss out mail-in ballots because of alleged faults in the Dominion voting machines. Remember, we've been talking about these machines these whole times? Well, also the Smartmatic software that the Dominion voting machines use. So the lawsuit by Thomas More, the Thomas More Society, also argues that Mark Zuckerberg funded Center for Technology and Civic Life. That's CTCL. That's the organization. And they funded public safe election operations in predominantly Democratic counties, violating state law and also violating the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. They're saying up to $400 million spent. Woo. Let's go to Michigan, up north. Get a jacket. Sidney Powell. She has another lawsuit similar to this, it's called the Amistad Project of the Thomas More Society, and they're suing over Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's decision to send absentee ballot request forms to every registered voter, allegedly with no authority and lax standards. It argues that observers were not allowed to have proper oversight, and the city affidavit stating that some ballots were counted multiple times among other irregularities. It also cites Zuckerberg's and the CTC Health's efforts as well. Now, we all seen the videos of them blocking up the windows for the counting and the counters, the observers being asked to be moved. Crazy. Nevada. In the Law versus Whitmer, the Trump campaign has sued 6 electors for Joe Biden on behalf of 6 Republican electors, alleging that Nevada authorities developed and implemented an election system that was highly susceptible to fraud and abuse. The lawsuit specifically claims that with a flood of mail-in ballots, officials in Clark County, that's home to Las Vegas, by the way, used electronic verification methods that were allegedly unreliable. It also lists other problems such as computer malfunctions. They got to look into these machines. Again, these Dominion voting machines. Pennsylvania. The state with 20 electoral college votes up for grabs. Well, there's several active cases there. 2 are particularly important. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court, well, they rejected a Republican challenge last week to the state's vote-by-mail law, Act 77, that's of 2019, citing the doctrine of latches, i.e. because it supposedly came too late. And after Republicans had to choose to sue in the primary election, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals tossed out the Trump campaign's effort to block certification. Both cases have been appealed to Supreme Court. It's going to SCOTUS. And let's finish off Wisconsin, where that lawsuit by the Amos Center for Justice and Liberty seeks to have the state's mail-in ballots that were placed in drop-off boxes invalidated on the grounds that the boxes were illegal. Another lawsuit by the Wisconsin Voters Alliance also targets Zuckerberg's donations. It also says that the state illegal relaxed voter ID by letting hundreds of thousands of voters claim that they were identifiably confined, tainting the results, which separate Biden and Trump by about 20,000 votes. So there's some of the lawsuits that are still ongoing and active. But if you look at the media, if you watch the news, you don't hear anything about what's going on legally. So why? Why wouldn't the media be reporting on this and acting as if it's already said and done? Lawyer Wayne, your thoughts?
One, the things they're complaining about are technical things that are not particularly interesting to the common person.
Okay.
So it doesn't make for a good story, like, guy gets shot or something like that. It's too complicated to sum up easily. Also, there is very little to no chance that even if some of these lawsuits prevail, that it will have any major impact, that it will, affect the outcome of the presidential election, right? They would have to prevail in several states, and they would have to prevail in ways that wouldn't just get rid of a few votes, but have to do something like, do the election over again.
I think
Which is unlikely.
I think what might be the banking on is getting, if you get a win at SCOTUS from one state, it goes across the board.
Maybe.
Like take those Dominion voting machines, right? Okay, because and everyone's saying, "Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?" I watch a lot of lawyer movies, if you will, and I don't see the lawyers presenting the evidence to media. I see them saving the evidence for the actual trial itself.
Well,
and presenting it there.
Sometimes.
But from what the alleges that I've seen with the sworn affidavits by the hundreds of people, and we watched them this week. If you got a chance to watch any of these testimonies, it's very interesting. Most recently, this driver who works for a company that the post office hired out. Well, he just came forward saying that he picked up a trailer in New York with about 270,000 votes and brought it to Pennsylvania. Why would you have, for any reason, votes coming from one state into another? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And now all of this is being looked into. So, hey, take it easy. Patience. But, again, did you hear much about that story? Well, the Dart stays pretty up to date, that's for sure. Newsmax is pretty good, and I was listening to NPR, because I like to listen to see what one side's saying, because if you think NPR is not a biased news outlet, let's just be real. Most of them do have their goal, their mission, their point of views, their way of life. But yeah, it's crazy. Amanda, what do you make of the election so far, 2020?
At this point, some days I'm in that I don't even care anymore kind of phase with it. I've been trying to find out, like you said, like what's legit, what's not, why aren't they talking about this? And then, some days it's kind of like, you know what? I'm just tired of hearing about it.
I'll tell you what, that's, I think, is part of mainstream media's mission, is to get you friggin' fed up. Okay, fine, I quit, whatever. Not saying, hey, we have to look into election fraud.
And that's the hardest part of it all.
Election irregularities.
Because if we're all frustrated and we're all like, whatever.
And it's not just for this election.
And then it just disappears.
It's the rest of the life of this country.
Exactly.
Right. But that is why I believe mainstream media refuses to just have this information and put it out there and just release information that makes you feel like Amanda, where you're like, all right, I'm done. Bay, bring us home. What do you got?
Crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
It is. So, hey, stay up to date, stay informed. We got December 14th. Lawyer Wayne, you know what day that is, right?
That's when the actual election is held.
Right. Right.
That's why they only got about 12 days to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Trump administration, they got this small window if they want to get anything like this through. But it's been very interesting with these judges, how they've been reacting. But we'll see what happens at SCOTUS.
I think it goes deeper than just the. Of course, everybody's frustrated, but why? Who knows what the truth is? And I think that's the biggest exhaustion thing. Is at least for me, what's accurate, what's not accurate, and that beyond anything. Whoever wins, you can know in a free country that we're supposed to be. If you cannot trust the media, if you cannot trust the election, then I think that's what everybody's exhausted with is being exhausted of knowing what's accurate, what's not, who to trust. And at this point, I don't think anybody trusts anybody, and that is a recipe for really bad things. And when I say anybody, not individually.
No, I hear you.
As
an organization level.
Yeah, at an organizational level. And so when you boil everything down to one thing, relationships, doing business with somebody, it boils down to one thing: trust.
Trust.
If you can't trust the system, if you can't trust the election, if you can't trust what is being presented by what is supposed to be a trusted media source, well,
and here's
again, that's the thing. I just don't think that even Newsmax, it is incredibly one-sided.
Right.
I mean, it's all
But it's good to hear that
one-sided.
side. It's good to hear the both sides. But you say trust, but there's two words that usually follow trust. But verify. You know, and that's a thing. So hopefully they go into it and find out about election irregularities and potential fraud.
Well, and ask yourself this: where are most people getting their news from these days?
I guess pretty much their phone,
Right.
and just reading the headlines.
Facebook, Twitter, and whatever they supply. And how can all these people disagree with this? Aren't they seeing this? No, they are not. Your feeds are incredibly personalized. If you're
And then
liberal,
on top of
you're
that,
getting only liberal news. If you're conservative, you're only getting conservative news.
But then look at the big tech. Like, look at Facebook now involved with these, with the donations to just one certain party, not in certain areas. There is a big tech censorship for those who lean to the right. It's just how it is. You know why that is? Because these kids go to school, all right, and they get indoctrinated with liberal information. They get fed it, and then they graduate. And what do they do when they graduate? They go work for these social media big techs, and boom, now they implement what was just into their brain. Like us, we're hate speech.
Your
to
own
them.
intern. Last time
Intern
I was
Shane.
in, intern Shane was sitting here and he was telling me about a journalism class that he took at I won't say where, and that the professor, while showing one side of showed the actual speeches, interviews, etc.
Right.
And then while showing the other side, they only showed
Snips.
No, not even snips of real. They showed
SNL.
the SNL
Oh,
parody
come
of said speech.
Oh no!
Now I'll let you guess which side was the
Yeah,
real,
oh,
which
I can
side
guess.
was the SNL parody.
What are you
But
doing, Austin
I mean, this
P?
is a university professor,
Did you see?
and you're using SNL to teach your class.
Did you see Austin P is now going to have the Black Lives Matter class? I would love to teach that about the anarchists. Did you guys see this yet? No. Austin P is now going to be having a Black Lives Matter course.
Okay.
I want that professor on. I would love to have an interview with the professor of whoever's teaching that, because I definitely know my history of the anarchist group that started in 2012. By the way, intern Shane did message me earlier. He goes, Joe, by any chance, could you send me any articles or sources that have proof that voter fraud was involved for this election? I'm having difficulty finding it. I said, that's strange, sarcastically. I have tons, as we've shown on the show. And he goes, where do you usually get them from by any chance? He's such a nice boy. Most of them I find on Google. Most of what I find on Google say that Trump has no proof of fraud or anything like that. And I go, Google. Again, big tech. And then I said, I'll send you a bunch of links I use for the show, Brett. I'm telling you, censorship is real. Take that whole Hunter Biden story. That still needs to be investigated.
Good luck with
what are you
that
talking
one.
about?
Okay, right, exactly.
Good luck
That's
with
my
that
point.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
But that goes to what I was saying earlier. When you're looking at these feeds from big tech, they're marketing personalized to you. They're, surely everybody knows the old saying, if you're a hammer, everything's a nail.
Right.
And that's all they're doing is presenting nails to you that you already agree with, that you already believe. And then you're looking and going, how do these other people not see all this? Because they're not.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
They're
you.
not seeing
Conquer
it
and
at all.
divide. Make us fight each other, the whole bit. That's what they want.
Yep.
But hey, I love you, brothers and sisters, or whatever you identify as. Okay?
The only thing I'd ask all people is think for yourself.
Yeah.
Look at what's happening and then think for yourself.
Yeah. So, hey, let us know what you think. Put in your comments. Share this on your timeline because Facebook won't do it for us. They won't help us out.
It's the Joe Padula Show. Bada bing. Clarksville's conversation.